I love the past generations of NU, and today I'm going to be covering the finals of the NU Classic Tour we ran. This was made up of, I believe it was 6 individual cups we did for generations 1 through 6 of NU, and the way you qualified for playoffs was based on your total points. Top 12 people advanced, and now we got to our finals between Ninja and Medeia, and we got a few games to cover. I should probably go to game 1. Of course, before we start talking about this, I'm going to remind you all to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. You get daily NU content, sometimes past gen, sometimes current gen, sometimes not even NU. You know, you can play some UU or RU, maybe a Little Cup one day. So subscribe, you'll never miss an upload. Now, disclaimer before we get too much into this. 2 of these games are generations of NU that I have very little experience playing, so I might not have the most insightful of commentary to provide at times. I just, you know what? Sit along for the ride. Enjoy the entertainment at the least, and if you feel like you came out of this not learning anything, well, just know that that's not necessarily always the point. You know, I'm here to inform, but also to entertain. You remember back in, like, elementary school, for my American viewers and for my non-elementary... or for my non-American viewers on primary school, they tell you about how, like, with an essay, you've got multiple kinds of purposes you can come at it with: persuade, inform, entertain. Yeah, we got inform and entertain. So, we got RBY NU, and this is an interesting generation of NU if you're an NU community member, because you might kind of just refuse to acknowledge that it exists and people play it. And yet it was game 1 between these two in the series, from how the post made it seem. And in RBY NU, the way I have seen it lately, well, last time I saw it in an NU team tour was this. A lot of teams were comprised of the same 5 Pokemon, plus 1. You've had your Charizard, your Blastoise, your Mr. Mime, your Clefable, and your Venomoth. There was a little bit of variation on that, of course. Sometimes people didn't run all 5. There was, like, more a core of the 3. It was like Clef, Stoise. I want to say Clef, Stoise, and Mime was usually the integral 3, and then it was like Zard, Venomoth were just also both really good. I might be mistaking that a bit. And your last spawn, we'd see like a normal type, or we'd see like an electric, which was almost always Electrode. Maybe we'd see a, there's another mon here I'm trying to remember, but I can't remember which one it is. But a lot of time we saw like another normal electric, a ground type, that was it. You could see some Nidoking, some Golem, and teams look kind of repetitive, but from what I've heard from the RBY members, teams have actually kind of evolved past that more recently, and I think Medeia's team, I don't know if it's considered standard at all, but it certainly doesn't resemble what you see in modern RBY NU, or what you see in older RBY NU, so there's that at least. So let's get into it. Now, we got the Clef lead versus the Mime, and Clef's in this tier, you've always had like Body Slam, Blizzard, T-Bolt, and your last move could be like T-Wave or Sing or Hyper Beam. You'd see T-Wave plus Slam, because remember in RBY, Body Slam doesn't paralyze normal types. And with how common a Clefable mirror matchup is, having T-Wave is actually really good, because it means you can guarantee get paralysis on the other Clefs, and as you see, T-Wave is just what's used immediately, because if a double switch to a normal type happens, then you want to be able to paralyze that. And we see the same idea with Ninja's Wigglytuff, getting that paralysis off on the Clefable. Unfortunately for Ninja, Medeia's Clefable is simply built different and induces double para on this Wigglytuff. And Medeia just easily wins that trade. And now Ninja goes to his own Clef. We're seeing that fabled Clefable mirror. Medeia wants nothing to do with it, is willing to risk their Venomoth, and they get it out here for free. And now we put the Mime to sleep. And another Gen 1 mechanic we must remember. When you wake up from sleep, you don't actually get to do anything on that turn. And so, if Mr. Mime doesn't wake up here, which it doesn't, Venomoth has officially won the exchange. Because it's not going to get to do anything on this turn. And it just dies to a double edge, a crit, just for, you know, overkill's sake. Now the Zard comes out. Zard in the back tells me it's probably going to be Sword Stance. The lead Zard usually didn't have Sword Stance, although I think we've seen a couple that did. But at a point, RBY players started realizing, hey, SD Zard's really good. What if instead of having it be our lead and potentially taking all that chip, we put it in the back of the team? And then it doesn't take all that chip. Also, nice Gen 1 miss. As we see here, though, This time, it is Medea's Clefable that gets absolutely locked into the Shadow Realm. But then the Rat comes out, and I'm gonna be honest, this is about where you see Medea's luck really spiral down into the abyss. Because this Raticate misses the Hyper Beam there that would have KO'd, and remember, in Gen 1, Hyper Beam resets on KOs. So the Clef would have been gone, and then it gets paralyzed into crit. The crit didn't matter, but it does get KO'd. So Medeia is, at this point, kind of, awkward spot. Really strong start, but the game isn't going how she would have liked it. Mime comes out, T-Bolt crit destroys, that's incredible. I don't think it KOs from 62. Blastoise is quite obese. Psychic not KOing the Clef's really bad here, in large part because we know what's been happening this game. There is another paralysis. But it's the game we play, baby. We all love it. Now we see Electrode come out. Electrode could clean if that's not a ground blast, and it is revealed to be the Venomoth. Medeia T-Waves hoping to get a paralysis. Unfortunately, she does not. Now I think here, yep, you do always try to see if you can burn a sleep turn. Crit on that Earthquake definitely sucks because now you are most definitely in range of a +2 Zard. And the Hydro Pump just barely not enough. I think Hyper Beam probably KO'd from that higher KO, or from that higher threshold anyway. I mean, it is a +2 Hyper Beam. As we see, EQ takes down the H-Trode. Not the H-Trode. I am an SV player, as you can tell. Takes down the normal Cantonian Electrode that is not a grass type and does not learn Volt Switch and Leaf Storm. But as we see, this game, very much a back and forth exchange, and kind of going against the grain of the RBY reputation, where you've got a lot of people where their mindset is an RBY. Inyu particularly gets this thrown its way, I've seen. If you get lucked once, you have lost the game. I mean, that's what I've seen almost verbatim said in the Inyu Discord, and this game kind of just says, no, you're stupid, stop saying that. Ninja got terrible luck early. His Wigglytuff got owned. His, what was it, his Clefable, I think? No, his Mime. His Mime got owned, and it didn't matter. He got some luck later on. It counterbalanced it all out. And he ended up pulling out with literally the standard team I described. These 5 and then another normal. So that's really funny. Now we go to ADV Inyu Game 2, and this is my favorite bastion of Inyu. Or Gen 7 Sun and Moon. It's one of the two. I could never decide. And there's not a ton I can really say from preview, outside of this is a tier where Chimecho is an S rank, and Glalie is an S rank. So you already know something went grossly awry, because somehow both these Pokemon are S ranks, but also Haunter is in the tier and is an S rank, and Haunter's kind of got a better reputation than either of those throughout the generations of Pokemon, where Haunter is like, in the early gens, it's got like UU viability, or just UU tiering. And then, whenever it's been NU, those other two mons, if they were in the same gen, they're like untiered of the untiereds. So I find that really fun. We won't know anything from this, though. Let's look at the lead. And we see Torkoal versus Hitmonchan. Now, a Torkoal lead tells me some things. There are a couple ways you can interpret this. Boom Spam is certainly one of them. A lot of Boom Spam teams do lead with the Torkoal. You would have usually seen a Glalie lead in previous years. But as people have really grown to appreciate Glalie in the tier, and as it's solidified itself as arguably the best mon in the tier, most people would agree Glalie is the #1 option in ADV Inyu. We've seen Glalie shifted more to the back. People have experimented more with bulkier Glalie. And it's just like with Swords Dance Charizard in Gen 1, hey, this mod's really good, I should actually not just lead with it and risk it getting weakened or KO'd early. And so people put the Glalie in the back of the team, preserve its HP so it can check things like Wailord and Haunter with those specially defensive sets. And then instead you see the Torkoal lead, which really, outside of maybe like a Wailord lead or an Artillery lead, not anything is threatening it. So you're going to see Medeia, she could just throw off a Fire move or a Toxic from one. Whereas a Ninja, the Hitmonchan lead, I mean, this could be stall, this could be like a Choice Banded Hitmonchan, or just a really offensive Chan lead on a more balanced build, or even kind of offensive. Like, the Chan lead really tells me nothing. So, we see Wailord come out, the Torkoal goes for Overheat, the Whale takes 20. I kind of think this is an offensive Whale from that damage, and we might be right because this goes for Ice Beam, and Ice Beam's usually not seen outside of more offensive Whales. And now Whale coming out. I mean, look, it's starting to look like Boom Spam now with Glalie coming out. Spike goes up here, and hold on. Let me, there we go. Spike's back up. And here I think we see Medeia make a misplay, predicting the Wailord to come out and they boom a little bit too aggressively. I believe the thought process from Medeia was, if I go Torkoal, it's a little too easy for them to double on a Whale. Or not even double, but just switch to Wailord. And if I boom, you know, catch the Wailord, and we see that catching Wailord was definitely what they wanted with this team, based on one of the last mons on Medeia's build. Roselia getting KO'd is still good, mind you. Even for this last mod, you know, there's a Huntail in the back, I'll just say it now. But, could have been better. Now we see the bulky Haunter coming into full effect here, tanking Wailord Hydro Pump. And his Magnet as well, we can confirm that because there's no leftovers, and there's also no Berry getting activated. Magnet being really good because it lets you do things like all that damage to Chime, or similar things to Sableye if it's specially defensive, or Metang. Now, Metang has also been revealed from Medeia. We haven't confirmed. This is just Boom Spam. And the Wailord comes in versus Sableye, actually going for a Rain Dance here. And Ninja, not knowing what to assume from Rain Dance Wailord, I guess, stays into Call Bind and just gets boomed on. So this lets Huntail come out. Unfortunately for Medeia, though, as I alluded to, specially defensive Sableye is a set, and it just yums up the Surf. Now, mind you, Hydro Pump would have packed this boy up, and I think Medeia would have won if they were running Hydro Pump Huntail. Of course, we see Wigglytuff come out here, and the Surf damage is good. Yeah, Hydro Pump would KO. As you see, Hydro Pump would have literally one-shot everything. And the problem, of course, is it one-shots everything, what is it, 80, 85% of the time? So, it's not the most consistent. And as you said in chat, just like that, I lose. Because, yeah, this Wigglytuff, able to tank the hits. Even though it dies this overheat, it does not matter. Because the whole point is just to get Whale back out, and then have it get that recovery. It's gonna Hydro Pump the Torque and smash it. If the Whale had missed, there's actually a very high chance Medeia wins, by the way. I'm, you know, kinda just amazed that that game could have gone so many different ways off of any turn, really. Like I said, you know, it could have been Hydro Pump Huntail, and I think Medeia wins, assuming the pumps connect. It could have been Wailord misses, never gets the Wish Pass, Torkoal would have KO'd, probably with Hidden Power Electric. And then I don't think the Hitmonchan will win, because it's just going to get exploded on by the Torque. But Ninja takes a 2-0 lead. Now we're in GSC. Can Medeia turn it around? Now, this is where the knowledge of my Bastion's NU comes into question, because you think I know anything about GSC NU? This is probably my most hated generation of Pokemon, just on the whole, because I don't want to see Pokemon spam rest and sleep talk for 100+ turns. Literally, if you look at the statistics, people have done this before. GSC games, on average, are significantly longer than any other generation of Pokemon. All that to say, let's go into this game. And I will be skipping through any rest sleep talk spam mirrors. So we see Persian Lead versus the Weezing. Weezing's like, if I'm remembering correctly, it's Weezing and Xatu are the two best mons in this tier. Persian Lead, this mon runs like Hypnosis and Thief a lot, so the whole point is it's a dedicated lead, just trying to be a team disruptor. We see the missed Hypnosis here, it doesn't really matter, because it's going to be able to win this exchange, as you see. As old 58 and the recoil, putting it in potential range of the double edge, and yes. So we see Firo get KO'd by that Persian. Apparently was high rolls. I'm gonna keep it a stack. You know what? It happens. You gotta live and you learn. As the Persian, this time landing its Hypnosis on the rock type too, so very nice matchup there. And in stealing the item, knowing the Pupitar would stay asleep. Now the Octillery comes out, and here's where you see a lovely little mirror. Neither person can do anything, so Ninja switches out. Chinchou, another water type, actually could threaten the Dugong though with a Thunder. Medeia's gonna make some very nice positioning calls here. Bring the Pupitar into the Thunder, double switch into Weezing, bring it in on the Soif, and now you get to throw off a Sludge Bomb. And it's very, very nice. As you see again, benefiting from this generation, allowing you to have EVs allocated in every stat, as Weezing is way bulkier than it normally would be. It's also way stronger than it normally would be, because look at that Stanler, he took 41 from a Sludge Bomb. Pupitar comes out, we're going to see the Spike set. As we see another not Pupitar come out and set spike. Pineco comes out and sets the spike. As Ninja now double switches. I'm guessing fearing the explosion here, which makes sense because Medeia 100% could have gone for a speed tie there to win the Hazards War. Unfortunately, saw what happened. Now we get back to Chinchou versus Pup. Once again, Medeia makes the wheezing call. Does get crit here. Thankfully, still out of range of another Soif. And Ninja opts to sack the Persia because it's so low. Brings now in the Stantler. A little bit more threatening now because it can Earthquake the Weezing, potentially KO it, or at least win the exchange. So the Pineco comes out. Good prediction from Ninja, knowing that that was an option. Goes for the return instead. Medeia not very happy about that. As the Xatu comes out, takes 1 more billion damage, but the Psychic crit's gonna be a little bit nice too. Not yet. That's the Spadesh drop turn. This is the crit turn. Well, his Stantler would get KO'd by this. The Chinchou comes out, thinks it can tank this hit. I'm here to tell you, no. 81. Get shamoned. So now that Chinchou's got a switch, Pineco comes out. It's gonna take 30 still, because, you know, it's a Pineco. This does not have stats. And he's gonna just go for a little rapid spin. We see the mid off here in full effect. Two pine cones staring at each other down, trying to win the Spikes War, trying to do something. Unfortunately for Medeia, Ninja's Pinecone is just a little bit more toxic. It like grew up in a swamp or something, or a toxic waste dump site, because this Pineco has toxic. And unfortunately, Medeia also loses the speed tie here. She could have won that Spike War, but it doesn't end up mattering. It just means both sides now are playing without a spike. Probably a little better for Ninja though, because his Chinchou is really low. And it's gonna be a very integral part of his team to win this game. As you see, Medeia's squad doesn't really have a lot of ways to deal with Chinchou. So you would have liked to keep that spike just so it couldn't keep switching in on random turns, getting that old gen leftovers mechanic recovery going where you just get leftovers recovery on some turns because of how the turns work. I don't even think that's old gen, I think that's every gen, but regardless. Here we're about to see 40 turns of Sleep Talk Rest. So, I have nothing to say. Let me just go through all of this till something happens. As you see, all that is happening is resting and sleep talking, sometimes not even doing anything. Yep. So somebody's finally switched. The Weezing comes out, gets a little bit of that recovery, and we know Weezing's a threat. We also know Weezing can tank 1 attack from this, and it still is having to sleep talk. He does not pull a Surf. Surf might have maybe KO'd based on a roll. I don't know. That's looking like it could have been dicey. That was a low roll. Stantler comes out. That crit definitely mattered. I'm calling it right there. Chinchou now comes out, once again, to get a little bit of lefties, but also because you force the Weezing out. And Weezing's integral to Medeia's team. It's like the one thing. It outspeeds this. It could still take a hit from Firo in a pinch. Maybe not. It needs some lefties. Crit there's a little bit tragic. Thankfully for Medeia, this Firo is not actually a threat. He goes for a rest here. It just gets another big old thing of rocks to drop on it. And here we see Medeia go for something a little too devious for my liking. The Sleep Talk pulls Drill Peck, best move you could have seen probably. And Ancient Power just fishing for the boost, which is really funny because if it got the boost, I think it won. Because yeah, we see this Quake damage. An attack boost would have put that in range, and the Octillery just rests it all up. We're gonna see the Pupitar now just fish for a little bit more EQ damage. And with how rest getting pulled from Sleep Talk works this gen, you actually don't want Octillery getting rest repeatedly, because it just heals it to full. So now Weezing comes back out. We see that Thunder does not KO, and this time, Octillery pulls a Surf. It's still not unwinnable, mind you. Dugong now comes out. I will say, I think this was a slight misplay from Medeia. I think Dugong was the wrong switch. I think you needed to go Xatu here. I believe we eventually see the damage Xatu does versus Chinchou. I'm just going to skip some turns once again because this is just more rest and sleep talk. I've got nothing insightful to say about that. As we see Xatu gets beat down. And this is why, yeah, so that's a little bit anticlimactic at the end. Xatu comes out after the Dugong lost the exchange. Here, we'll watch the few turns here. Gets hit by the Soif. Only doing 30, not even 30. Xatu wakes up, goes for a Psychic, you see there, 40. I think the right play was probably go Xatu. Because remember how that turn went? Oh god, the new replay system, please. Stop seeking. So, you see how this was at 0 sleep turns left? It hadn't burned a single turn, so it was going to always be asleep for 2 more turns. I think you go Xatu there because 40% from Psychic twice. This is not, you know, it's going to be in range. It's a 3-hit KO. I should have just said that. It's a 3-hit KO range of Psychic, though. And if you go Xatu and it only pulls Surfs, then you win. Or you maybe even get a special defense drop on the first Psychic, and you can KO it with the next. Or you just put it in range for Dugong, right? I think Xatu was a better mon to go to there. I think you have your only odds of winning are with Xatu as the response. Now maybe Chinchou is still beatable if you go to your Dugong first and you take this long exchange and go into Xatu later. The reason I'm unsure though is you can't guarantee Chinchou will have this little 0 right here next to turns of sleep. You can't guarantee that it will have just used rest and burn 0 turns of your sleep. So I think you need to go Xatu because that's your best positioning. Right, you can guarantee the mon's gonna be asleep and you actually get your psychics off. All that to say, Ninja has won in your classic. This has been over for a couple weeks now, but today I decided, hey, let's actually cover this. But I hope y'all enjoyed this. Bastions and Inu are always really fun for me to look at, especially because you see a ton of Pokemon that get used, are standard, are like highly viable. That in a current gen of Inu, you telling me that Peepatar would be viable? You've got to be pulling on my leg. Persian, you telling me that's viable right now? That mon is in underused, my friend. Well, like I said, I hope y'all enjoy. Let me know down below if you want more Bastions and Inu content. I've seen a couple of y'all comment for it before. I hope this satiated y'all's desires. But I will see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.